Miles here, and I'm just going to be sitting over here because we have a new changing arrangement. I wanted to try something a little bit different just so that you guys can see Miles in different lighting and really kind of get a better picture of what he would look like in person. So I think it's kind of fun, like a little bit creative to do different setups like that. However, this is my living room and we do have dogs, and the dogs love the living room. It's kind of like their area. And so if you see them kind of meandering around, that's what the little fuzzy looking hot dogs are. I'm just kidding. I do have dachshunds, and then Dory over here is part pug, part lab. But anyway, I am going to show you what I will change Miles into today. As usual, I have two different pairs of pants because I always have a hard time picking pants. I don't know why, but it's going to be this onesie. And I've never put him in this onesie before, so I'm excited to see what he looks like. And I'm either going to be doing these pants, which I think are going to be way too big. I bought them for only like $1 at a consignment shop because I love knits, but I think it's just going to be too big. So in the case that it's too big, I also have these, but it's pretty much the same color as the onesie that he's wearing right now. So I don't know if I want to switch it up, or we'll see. I hope all of your guys' day is going well. It is a lot better weather here, so I'm really happy about that. No snow, and it's going to be really nice this weekend. I think it's supposed to get up into the 50s actually, so it's going to be really, really good. We're super excited about that. It's going to melt all the snow, and hopefully we have an early spring and an early summer. I know that's like probably bad for the environment, but I hate the cold so much. I really do. But anyway, the other day I was kind of just looking through my videos, and I noticed that one of my like more popular videos that a lot of you guys have been interested in lately has been the difference between silicones and reborns. And sometimes like when like random old videos get a lot of attention, I like to just see kind of what they were about, because I made them years ago and I kind of forgot. And so I rewatched that one, and I made a point about how with silicones you don't have to spend as much time with them, and the time to maintenance and take care of them is a lot less. And I kind of started thinking a little bit more about that, and really like how much time do I actually spend with my reborns, kind of either just enjoying them or caring for them. And I also have this pretty big thing where in order for me to justify spending a large amount of money on something, which reborns, let's be real here, are a large amount of money, I feel like I really need to get good time usage out of that thing. So for an example, I am perfectly willing to spend $70 on a pair of jeans because I wear jeans all the time, and I know that they're going to be worn at least once a week. And so I'm totally okay with spending that amount, but I would not be willing to spend that amount on a really nice shirt because I really only wear certain shirts probably once a month. I have so much clothes, and so I just don't use it as much. And I feel like I have sort of similar mentalities for reborns. That seems really silly because you think something that you know that you're going to enjoy, you're like, oh, like I need to spend X amount of time on this for me to actually decide to buy it. But it was like a real issue for me, especially when getting back into the reborn hobby. Because I've had reborns ever since I was 12, so really, really long time. I'm 20 now, and I've always had a doll, but I haven't always necessarily been completely invested in the reborn hobby, just like most longtime collectors. There's been times where I've been very, very interested in the hobby and I've been very invested in the hobby, and then there's times where I've just been busy with other things, or I've been interested in other hobbies, or kind of more focusing on some of my other interests. And so when I kind of had like a huge sort of long time, I guess sort of slowed down progress in the hobby. Like I wasn't really buying any clothes, I wasn't buying any dolls, I wasn't spending very much time on my dolls. I really wanted to get back in the hobby, but I realized that a lot of my desires in the hobby had changed. For an example, with Miles, I really wanted a larger size doll. I had a bunch of really small dolls, and I was just really wanting like a bigger baby to hold. However, I was very hesitant to spend that money because I was like, if I spend this money and then I'm not spending time on the doll, then that could be money that I could have invested in for college or just other things like that. So I feel like I was confused. Okay, we're good. I did put it on right. And so I feel like there has to be like a certain amount of time in the hobby for me to spend on it. However, at the same time, how am I supposed to get back into the hobby if I'm not spending any money? And so I did put this on wrong. Okay, I think. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this is so hard for me today. Oh, there's the button. Okay. There we go. But anyway, I just didn't really want to jump in because what if I bought this bigger doll and I spent all this money that could have been spent elsewhere, and I'm still not spending time in the hobby, but how do I get back in if I'm not spending that? So what do I do? And so finally, I just realized that I needed to just jump back in, full nosedive back in. And that did require some funds, but I feel like it was worth it. And another way that I kind of justified to myself how it was going to be something that was appropriate and acceptable for my life is now I have less dolls, and so I have less money invested in the hobby because I'm not spending as much time in it. And I feel like as I spend less and less time, I'm probably going to have less and less dolls, or maybe as I get more interested, I kind of end up having more dolls. And so I think like a fair amount of time for me to spend personally is probably, I'm trying to think of like my typical, because there's some weeks that I'm so busy that I sometimes will just look at them, and there's some weeks that I'll spend hours doing videos or holding them or changing them. So I feel like it fluctuates a lot, but I guess for me to feel satisfied, I have to at least touch them or hold them or do something, whether it be changing, video, photo, anything at all, at least twice a week. And for me, that's been fairly regular. Like I said, there's some weeks where like I do nothing and some weeks where it's a lot, but oh yeah, these pants are pretty big. But anyway, my point being is I just want to know, how much time do you guys spend in the hobby, and do you think that it is necessary to consider how much time you're spending in the hobby before you buy a new doll? Because I couldn't imagine having another doll right now. I just don't have the time to focus on them. And I know sometimes in my videos it's probably like a little bit boring because I'm like, oh, here's this doll, here's the other doll, here's this doll, here's the other doll. And off camera, a lot of the times I really just focus on one doll. So some weeks I really like having a small baby to curl up into my arms, and so Winona's usually the baby that I gravitate towards. And then sometimes I just like the feel of how Miles just like, I don't know, like the weight of him in my arms. I think he's a very soothing baby to hold. But more like while I'm laying down or sitting down, because if you hold him for a while, he is 8, almost 9 pounds. He gets a little hefty on your arms. But yeah. And another thing that I've really been doing a lot lately, which is probably not a great thing, but it's okay, is I've been spending quite a bit on clothing, which is why I'm kind of going back through all of my baby stuff and being like, oh, like, what have they worn and what haven't they worn before? Because I feel like almost kind of silly being like, oh, I didn't even have enough time to like, you know, use all of these clothes. Why should I be buying more? So I'm kind of going through and being like, okay, this is what the dolls have had on. And I've definitely never put this on Miles. And those pants were way too big, so this is going to be a lot better. And I am going to fix up his hair. He does have a pair of gray socks that I wanted to put on him to match the little like words on here. But they're in my room, and I don't really want to go all the way back. So he's just going to look like that for now. Oh, and his shirt, if you guys were wondering, kind of just says little, like, I guess cute things on it. It's just really random, like, I am so loved, little peanut, surprise, I can change the world. It is a Carter shirt, so if you guys have any Carter things, you know, they have like a lot of the same sort of wording on them, but I think it's adorable. It would have been really cute for him to wear on Valentine's Day, I think, but I didn't really do anything particular with the dolls for Valentine's Day. I feel like that holiday always sort of just comes up really quickly, and it's more just like, oh shoot, what do I get my family, and what do I get for my boyfriend, and that sort of thing. I don't really think about, oh, like this onesie would look good. By the way, if you're wondering like why my dog freaked out when I sprayed that, is she does not like spray things. I don't know why. We got her as like a rescue dog because one of my mom's friends found her kind of wandering the streets, and they weren't able to find a new home for her, or her original home, so she found a new home, which is our home. So we don't know how she was trained and how she was cared for, so her previous owners could have like sprayed her with a bottle when she was doing something bad. I really don't know. Or it might just be the sound. She's a little bit of an odd dog, so that's possible too. Oh, Miles looks so cute. But yeah, I also want to know if any of you guys who have been in the hobby for a really long time have kind of had situations where you just weren't really growing or changing in the hobby and you weren't really spending any time on it. And I want to know kind of how you guys sort of reacted to that. Did you decide to sell a bunch of dolls? Did you just pack them up in boxes? Did you completely get out of the hobby and then just decide to come back when you had the time? So yeah, and Miles is so cute. I think this is probably going to be a little bit shorter video compared to my other ones. But I just wanted to change him because he was looking so cute before I start working on projects and everything for midterms. So anyway, you guys have a great rest of your week. Mwah, bye-bye.